What the hell? Oh my God.
Majors before this. Good to see you too.
Hi. Yang and Blake.
And you. Goodbye.
I'll be the first one to say it. RWBY's not that bad.
Why do you follow her?
Like, yeah, it's bad, but it's not that bad. I know you've seen like a billion bajillion videos scrolling by of just every single video breaking down every war crime the RWBY series has ever committed. They've ruined this character's bad, this character's stupid, this writing decision's bad, and like, I get it. Like, there's just a million of these videos. There's even people dedicating their entire lives to remaking the entire RWBY world to the point where at this point they might as well just write their own story because it's not even the same thing. They don't even make an attempt to like take the existing things and rework them. They're just gonna try to like rebuild the series from the ground up. At that point, just write your own story.
Assignment he had left inside his mom's kitchen drawer. Now, do not interrupt.
The only good video of these anyway is the one by H-Bomber guy, so like, just go watch that. The problem is that a lot of RWBY fans are the ones who are its biggest haters. The ones who absolutely despise RWBY are the ones who are watching that shit from day one. Because here's a little hint. The only RWBY fans that are still around are the ones who were there for the Red trailer in the ripe young year 2012. Hi, I'm Boosham Zero. I was indoctrinated at a young age to watching the funny Rooster Teeth animation. Because again, you have to understand the specific mindset that all of us were. Rooster Teeth up until this point was only making like Red versus Blue, so the idea of them making their own anime, a YouTube company making their own anime, again, this is before they became an actual big company. This is back when they were still perceived as small machinima making company that made funny little Halo machinimas. When the idea that this type of studio could make an anime quote unquote was big news for all of us weebs. That meant for all of us, we could do the same thing, so we were rooting for that thing day one. And how could you blame us? That trailer looks really good. I could still rewatch the first 4 trailers and get some worth out of it, as long as you ignore the voice acting.
I'll set the charges.
What about the crew members?
What about them?
And the writing.
Melanie, who is this girl? I don't know, Milsha, but we should teach her a lesson.
Oh, hey, sis!
And
What are you doing
just,
here?
just like if you ignore those 2 big things, you can fool yourself into thinking that RWBY was good. You can try to understand. Rewatching it does give you a different perspective. Right, I even did that. I invited a bunch of friends to rewatch volumes 1. I think we got up to volume 5 before all of us collectively gave up. We rewatched the entire series and those giant bulk movie-like things that they made for RWBY. And it really puts into perspective the fact that while RWBY is bad, it's bad in a sort of like amateurish way that like, you don't expect me to get mad at like the elementary school performance of Romeo and Juliet for being mad, right? I mean, you can't expect 2013 Rooster Teeth to be making like big money moves, right? Because obviously Volume 1 is bad. It was never good. A lot of these RWBY fans have convinced themselves that the problem with RWBY is that it's getting worse. No, I don't think the series that started off with a bully arc where the writers self-insert bought the wasp from the wasp store to make the bees attack the girl that he likes because he might get shoved in a locker. I don't think the series that did that unironically was ever gonna be that good.
Last night, old John here managed to round up an entire box full of rapier wasps.
How the hell you just casually pull this out like, yeah, I have this on my person. Don't ask how they were collected though, you don't want to know.
But you can't really get mad at that when you realize what it is. Like, okay, if you watch H-Bomber Guy's video, you kind of understand that a lot of RWBY's production cycle from the very beginning was amateurish and not really well put together. Imagine for a second, right? I was your director, and in the middle of the writing process, I just left. Like, I just left for months on end, didn't come back. But when I did come back after like 5 months, while you guys were writing the story, I gave you guys like 17 well-made, high-quality fight scenes with like 20 new characters who you had no idea who any of them were, and I said, make a story around this. And the only thing you ever did was having the funny red suit guy in Halo fight the funny blue suit guy in Halo. If that was the only thing you were writing before, and I told you to make a story out of that, you'd also effectively make what RWBY did. A bunch of sock puppets with cool animation. So like, when I showed this part of RWBY to my friends, they like understood on like a deep level that yeah, this isn't good, but like could be worse. It could be worse if this was made by like an actual big studio and this was like funded with like millions of dollars and it was still bad. That's like a different level. Because there's still good things to be gleaned out of RWBY Volume 1 and pretty much the rest of RWBY when you take a look at it. When you look at John's character arc, for example, it's clear the fact that the writers made this his self-insert ended up creating a better story and a better character using John, because when you see his relationship with Pyrrha, you see Team Juniper's relationship, the fact that Pyrrha's death hurts Team Juniper so much that it like connects with Ren and Nora's PTSD when they were kids, and they connect that with an arc in Volume 4, and then in Volume 5, I think it is, when they see the statue of Pyrrha and they all come together as a team. The fact that there are really well-written parts of this story just in this mess of fan fiction that was created around Monty Oum's anime homework, it's surprising to me that anything came out of this that good.
Thank you.
And again, I'm not excusing the problems, right? I'm not gonna be out here saying that RWBY is actually good, you guys are just being mean. No, RWBY's bad, but you guys are being like hyperbolic. Because like, here's the thing. Most of these people who are like vehemently opposed to it are from two camps. There are people who like see it nowadays and look at it and take one glance and realize, oh, this shit doesn't look good, and then walk away. The normal response. A response that was made by someone who wasn't 15 in the year 2012 and was fooled into thinking this thing would be good. Or you were a rabid RWBY fan who's just so angry, seeing everything that happened, all the controversies, all this stuff that involves Rooster Teeth, and it just keeps thinking about the old days, the nostalgia, not realizing that like this was never gonna be good.
Stop calling him a degenerate. He's a person.
Oh, I'm sorry. Would you like me to stop referring to the trash can as a trash can?
Damn, Weiss hangs out with one faunus and thinks she can call all of them a slur.
If you really like take that out of your mind and then watch RWBY for what it is, there's stuff to glean from it. Like I mentioned with John and the whole Team Juniper, there's a lot of actual story elements that are very, very interesting. Once RWBY's plot actually kicks in and they start introducing some elements, you start to see where the good lies. When Crow's character is introduced in Volume 3 and you see how his semblance affects him, the fact that he can't have anybody be close to him and how that affects him throughout the volumes, that's pretty good.
I can turn into a bird, RWBY.
When they introduce Ozpin's character arc and introduce the whole like sharing spirit thing he does with Oscar. Oscar as a character is probably the best decision RWBY's ever made post Volume 4. I think he was introduced in the end of Volume 4. Once Oscar's introduced, he's probably the best like story decision that they made. And I gotta say, the RWBY team is doing a pretty good job considering what they've been given. When you look at the animation of Volumes 1 through 3, there's a lot more emphasis only on the action, and a lot of the shots that are like not action, just it's hard to pay attention. Like the dialogue's already bad enough, but when the shots look like this, I can't pay attention for long periods of time.
Aura is the manifestation of our soul. Practice. Our aura, the manifestation of animal and life. Have you ever felt like you were being watched without knowing that someone was there?
Is she talking about like the CIA? Does Big Brother exist in this universe? What the hell?
They've sacrificed a lot of Monty's like high action, high tension, really well animated fight scenes. Again, they're never gonna be that good because Monty Oum isn't alive, but there's an attempt to be made to make the dialogue scenes and the scenes that aren't action more interesting, and I gotta say, these parts end up being some of the most interesting parts of RWBY past Volume 3 because there's like actual character development going on sometimes. Like, they're clearly trying, but when your house is made of popsicle sticks, I can't build the pyramids on top of that. The popsicle sticks are just gonna collapse. But again, there are good things to be gleaned out of it. If you look at the manga that takes the original of Volumes 1 and 2 and takes the story from there and just reworks it in a way that makes the story more cohesive, you realize that there's good things to be taken from it, if only taken from someone who's experienced and knows to cut the fat. Even the beginning of Ice Queendom kind of shows this off. It's why I get jump scared by the fact that it turns into Adventures in Dreamland after episode 3. Ugh. But I can't help, as a fan of it, to keep wondering if it's gonna keep getting better. Again, I watch this shit weekly. I was there from day one. Maybe this time it'll be good. Maybe this time it'll be good. And then getting volume 3 and seeing the story actually take off and it being legitimately good and being excited for what's to come, and then just seeing it always just kind of like edge me every now and then. Maybe it'll be good, maybe it'll be bad. And finally we get something like volume 7 that takes everything I've ever wanted from RWBY, makes it cohesive and gives us good character development, good actions back. They make use of the semblances really well, and we get our hopes up, only for volume 8 to take all that and stomp on it, stomp all over my hopes and dreams. You understand that what I might be experiencing isn't just nostalgia. It's probably just Stockholm Syndrome. We're all collectively experiencing Stockholm Syndrome. So my question is, for all of you, is RWBY really that bad? Or are we just insane? Have we just been holding on to the hope that maybe the series will be good? Have we just been sitting here for years, our childhood dreams being carried on the backs of this series that clearly was never going to get better? Are we really? Are we really fans of this? Or are we just hoping that one day, if RWBY becomes good, then maybe it's proof that we were right for sticking around for it, that we were right for believing in it? Why the fuck does Volume 9 look good? What is going on? Why does this trailer actually look like it might be good and entertaining? Oh no, they got me again, didn't they? They got me again. Fuck. I still gotta watch RWBY Chibi. Maybe that'll make me feel better.
RWBY! Ha! Now that's ice water.